So for the purpose of this teaching assignment, I'm going to be teaching a parent, Cade, about the importance of metabolic regulation, the negative impacts of type 2 diabetes on the pediatric population. First off, I'm a nurse, I'm an EMT, I'm a dad, and I lost 150 pounds, no gastric sleeve, no GLP-1 medications, the old-fashioned way. So I'm super passionate about this due to the multiple avenues that I've learned and seen this in real time. I think one of the most important parts of this, because a child with type 2 diabetes, they haven't had it long enough to have like long-term health issues that a lot of adult patients have. So first off, as a parent, you need to understand that the onus of responsibility is on you. It's not on the system, it's not on the grocery store. If your child has type 2 diabetes, unfortunate and unpopular opinion, that's a choice that you've made. Regardless of how you got there, you've got there, and now you have a responsibility to your child to be able to reverse and to be able to mitigate the issues that come with it. Issues associated with type 2 diabetes that are non-physiologic issues are definitely in the psychological form, whether it's trauma from bullying at school, whether it's body dysmorphia due to being overweight, or due to excess weight loss and having things like loose skin, post-massive weight loss. The important thing about the management of metabolic dysfunction in the pediatric population is that as a parent and or as a guardian, you have control of every lever that you need to pull to be able to reel things back in and get metabolic health back. Whereas with an adult, you have, whether it's domestic situations, your wife cooks dinner for you, or everyone in your family eats something different. The beauty of having a controlled environment for your child is all you need is the proper tools and the proper knowledge to be able to help mitigate these issues. And the number one thing, obviously there's no denying the importance of thermodynamics in any human with caloric expenditure and caloric intake. So the input and output ratios have to be there. If they are intaking more calories than they are outputting via baser metabolic rate and physical activity, there will be what's called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is at the foundation of type 2 diabetes. And diabetes has gotten so bad. My mom was an ER nurse for about 30 years. When she was a nurse, it was juvenile and adult diabetes. We've now renamed and reclassified diabetes due to the greater onset and the greater volume of metabolic dysfunctions within the pediatric population. So number one, as a parent, would be identifying foods that they're eating. So how you're feeding them currently has gotten them metabolically dysfunctional enough to have type 2 diabetes, which again, in the early stages can entirely be reversed via diet and exercise. So number one is looking at food sources. Simple and small changes. If you have a teenager and they drink 2 cans of Coke a day, a can of Coke contains 39 grams of sugar. 2 cans of Coke then eats 78 grams of sugar. There's 4 calories to every gram of carbohydrates. So if you do the math, 78 times 4, you're already at almost 300 calories for 2 small cans of soda that have no nutritional value. So most important lever to pull is removing excess sugar sources, whether it's taking that Coke, turning it into a Diet Coke, which has 0 calories and 0 sugar, drinking sparkling water, or anything to limit the exposure to excess and unnecessary sugars. Whole foods, again, super important. The more whole foods they're eating, instead of getting up in the morning and having your child or your pediatric patient in this case eating a bowl of Fruit Loops, they could eat eggs, they can eat sourdough toast, they can have avocado, and all of those things will help with insulin regulation. The second, and I would say, arguably, insulin sensitivity occurs when your body utilizes its muscles more. This doesn't mean your 6-year-old needs to go to the gym and try to deadlift 500 pounds off of the ground. That's an absolute ridiculous thought. The importance is that they're exerting some level of super physiologic stress onto their muscles, because the body's primary fuel for both brain and muscle use is glycogen. Glycogen is synthesized in your body from carbohydrate intake, that being their main fuel source. So if you're able to find fun activities, like for my daughter, for instance, she's 2.5 years old, she's not of school age, but she likes the idea of, oh, hey, I'm going to school, I'll put a backpack on. I'll put a dictionary in her backpack because she enjoys wearing the backpack. It makes her more active, it's a game, it's fun, but again, it's increasing some level of super physiologic load onto her body thereby increasing her body's and her muscles' use of glycogen, making her muscles more sensitive to any carbohydrates that she consumes or any glycogen that her body produces as a result of the consumption of carbohydrates. So I would say, like in a nutshell, again, for the pediatric population, as parents, the onus of responsibility lies solely on us. If our child has a severe metabolic dysfunction to the point where they've developed type 2 diabetes, we are responsible for that condition. We are responsible for the development of that condition. And just as we were responsible for the actions leading up to where they're at now, we should be just as responsible for helping them, for making those dietary modifications, for making those physical activity modifications to help mitigate the issues that we talked about in the beginning of this video. Whether it's their mental health, whether it's trauma, whether it's from bullying, whether it's body dysmorphia from either being overweight or the ramifications of a major weight loss, whether it's not being able to have a good body image even after they've lost the weight, assuming that's what happened, or if they have loose skin post-weight loss. All those things are super important, and that can be nipped in the bud when they're younger versus when they're 30, and then there's more social obligations, and there's just more variables. So again, in conclusion, as parents, we are masters of the variables. It is our responsibility to protect and nurture our children, the environments they're in, and that's not just about, outside, about, like emotional trauma. Emotional trauma can come from those metabolic disorders, from children being unhealthy, from children having a disturbed body image. And I think as parents and as a population as a whole, we need to own that. We need to take more accountability for that. And we need to accept the fact that it is now our responsibility to guide these young humans into being healthy children. Healthy children equal healthy adults, and healthy adults equal a good mental health and good balance.